Well, as a now retired Foursquare pastor, although we're never really retired, I'm very aware still of how important it is for people to read the Word, to read God's Word, and especially the Gospels, to understand. God Himself came down to this planet Earth in order to give us the way to salvation, to be able to be with Him forever. He loved us so much. And the story is told as God wrote it Himself, really, in the Gospels. And so it's very important that we as Christians, and especially for young Christians, for baby Christians, to really learn how to get into and read the Word and to study the Word very carefully, because it's so rich and has so much for all of us. And we need some tools. We need some guides to help us do that. Jesus modeled for us who we are to be, what we're to do, how we're to do it, when we're to do it. And we need to understand that so that we can live our lives the way that He did. And if we don't understand what He did, then how can we model it? So it's very important that as we're reading the Word, that we have something to guide us through it. Well, this series that Glen Copple has created, Getting to Know Jesus, is one of the best tools that I've seen for doing this, because it takes the approach of taking you right back into history, right at the time, as if you were walking with Jesus at the time that it was happening. And that's the thing I like about it. And it helps people to understand better. It covers the whole story. It brings references in. It allows you to study and meditate on the Word as we're supposed to, as well as giving some examples, some good examples of exactly what Jesus did, how He did it, why He did it, when He did it, so that we can understand how He modeled all these things for us. He taught us how to pray on earth as it is in heaven. And so He's trying to show us what to do on earth while we're still here, as we're living out our salvation to be with Him forever. So I especially appreciate what Glen has done with this, and how you can study the Word. You can do it in a classroom environment or just at home on your own, as something to have by your side as you're reading the Word, to help you guide you through it on a daily basis, ideally. Some people look at it and say, boy, that's quite a lot of information and quite a lot of time involved. But we're talking about just reading God's Word on a daily basis. And we need to do that. And something like this will help us. And this is one of the best tools I've seen to do that. I think everyone who has looked at it and who has used it has remarked how it kind of draws you right in and makes them feel as though they've been just a part of what's going on. So that's why I like it, and that's why I would recommend it to anyone who's really trying to study more about Jesus, to understand who He did and what He was modeling for us. When I think about Jesus, I'm reminded that He is God Himself. In the book of John, it said all things that are made were made by Him and through Him. Through Him, everything was made that's been made. So we're dealing with God. We're dealing with God Himself, that part of Him that's His Son. And when I think of Him, I think of love as well, because God is love. And He exemplified His love just by coming down to save us. And He exemplifies it in His Word and teaches us, especially as you go through the book of John. He just continues to show us His love and what His love is for us. I want to get to know Jesus better because, as I've said, He models the way we are to live our lives. He gives us the example of what to do under various circumstances, what to do in our daily routine, as well as how to plan our whole lives of what He wants for us. And so when I think of that, I really believe that that's what's very important. We need to understand how to live our lives the way that He lived them. I think the thing I like best about it is that it shows us, it takes you right into the time. It gives examples. It shows not only visual pictures that you can, for those who've never been over to Israel or the time or the place of Jesus, it helps you to see some of those regions and areas to get a little better feeling of what's happening. And it also gives really good study guidelines, as well as commentary, things that allow us to dig in and understand what the Lord's trying to tell us through His Word, through the Gospels. Getting to know Jesus has changed my life for the better in a couple different ways. Of course, as a pastor, I've also spent a lot of time learning the Word and reading the Word through a lot of different resources. What I like about this is, first of all, a lot of people have really beginning to understand and realize what a good tool it is to help them through it. So that to me is good. Anything that is a good tool for people to use, that blesses me as well as it will bless them. It's also been good because it allows you to see, like I said, certain aspects of Jesus' life as well that go beyond what you would just read in normal textbooks, I would say.